Hello, my name is Alex. I'm a patchwork nerd, and yes, I'm so extra that I take my tea out of a teapot. I am really excited about today's topic because I actually went to Twitter asking you guys what I should talk about for this week because I was completely stuck on a topic. I had something planned, but I wasn't feeling it. And so you guys really stepped up and gave me some great suggestions. So today's topic actually comes from Simon Thurtle, whose last name completely delights me because it reminds me of the word turtle. I'm sorry. I just think it's cute. So I want to give a quick shout out to Simon and say thank you so much for this suggestion, and I hope you guys enjoy it. There are so many mistakes I've made as a writer, and as much as I know those mistakes have helped me learn and grow, I can't help but wish that I could go back in time and tell young wee little Al some wisdom to help her have an easier time with writing. So in honor of that, we are going to take a look at 5 things I wish I would have known when I started writing. And I started writing in 3rd grade, so wee little Al probably would have been very overwhelmed by this list, but that's okay. Little Al was overwhelmed by everything, and she still is, so we're just gonna roll with it. The first thing I wish I could have gone back and told myself is that second drafts exist. When I was younger, I just assumed that you wrote something once and then it was completely done and ready to go. Even when I had to edit papers, a lot of times I would just double check to see if I spelled anything wrong or did anything wrong grammatically, and then I would consider it good. And this didn't develop very good habits for me because a lot of times I got away with this. I got A's on those assignments still. I wish I could go back and tell myself that there is so much room for improvement with writing and to always go back and give things a 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th look because it is perfectly fine. And there are so many things that you can learn from going back and doing multiple drafts. And that really connects us to my second thing I would have told myself, and that is nothing is perfect the first time. I would just get completely devastated at the idea of things not being perfect right off the bat. And this caused me so much anxiety with writing when I was younger, and it still causes me anxiety today. There are so many times where I stop myself and have to remind myself, hey, this is your first time writing this. It's not gonna be perfect. As a matter of fact, it would be phenomenally impossible for this to be perfect, and that's okay. I wish I could go back and tell myself, hey, this isn't gonna be perfect, but just keep writing it. Don't run away from it because it's not perfect. The third thing I would love to tell past me is that you need to focus on one idea at a time. I have so many notebooks from when I was a kid and when I was a young adult where I would start a story, write anywhere between 10 to 30, 40 pages, and then just abandon the story completely. I would have it fully fleshed out in my head, and it would be like a cinematic universe in my head. But when it came time to actually write it, I got distracted by shiny new ideas. I think it is so important for writers to know when to buckle down and focus on an idea. If you have picked something to be your work in progress, hyper focus on that and don't get distracted by shiny new ideas. It's so easy to get distracted by them, but you have to focus, otherwise you're never gonna get anything done. And I have so many cool projects that I was writing as a kid that could have turned into something wonderful if I would have actually wrote them. The 4th tip I have for past writer me is to hold on to your joy. I would write such fun, spooky, goofy, silly, just whimsical stuff as a kid, and the older I got, the more I felt I had to buckle down and be serious. And I'm now just finally starting to let my humor come back into my writing. I'm a goofy, bubbly person, and it's important for me to include that part of my personality in my writing. Just because you're older and getting older doesn't mean that you have to somber everything up and everything has to be serious all the time, and if it isn't, then you cannot be taken seriously and you will never get your adult card, which I never actually got my adult card, so that shows how much it wasn't worth my time to be so serious. Don't be afraid to have fun with your writing. Be goofy if you want to be goofy. Don't feel like you have to serious up your language and serious up your themes and serious up your characters to be taken seriously. I so often fell into thinking that the only way I could be a respectable author is if I wrote about very strict, serious things. and I wish I wouldn't have put those barriers on myself, because there is so many ideas I could have explored if I would have just let myself. So don't be afraid to have fun. Inject joy into every inch of your writing. And the fifth tip I wish I could have told myself back when I started writing is to not torture yourself. There were so many times where I was my worst critic and I was so hard on myself about everything I wrote. Believe it or not, you can be a writer and you can be happy. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Don't be afraid to try things that are experimental. Don't be afraid to be afraid. It's okay. The whole point of writing is to explore and have an adventure. And you can't have that adventure if you're sitting there torturing yourself and laboring over how you stepped over a twig wrong or you used this comma incorrectly. Don't dwell on your mistakes. Instead, focus on how much you're going to improve the further along you get on this journey. So be kind to yourself. Past me, be nice to me, okay? You're really mean to me. This is getting kind of Inception-y, but that's okay. And that was our look at 5 tips I wish I could have told myself when I first started writing. What would you tell yourself if you could go back in time and let yourself know about writing? What kind of advice would you give yourself? And just a quick reminder before we go, don't forget that every Wednesday in the month of November, I am doing a live stream at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time where we are sprinting for Nano and talking about writing and just having a wonderful time. You can also join me on Sundays on Twitter for Writer's Patch. You can follow me at Patchwork Nerd. Otherwise, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, leave it below in the doobly-doo. And if you would like to, please hit that happy little subscribe button down below. I post new videos on Mondays. I want to thank you guys so much for joining me. Also, if you want to help support me making as many videos as I can and producing writing and more fun stuff for Writer's Patch, feel free to click the link down below to go to my Patreon page. You can make a pledge as low as $1 a month to help support me and support all of the weird shenanigans I do. I appreciate it so much and it means so much to me. Again, I want to thank Simon for suggesting this topic and big shout out to him. I hope you guys are having a great day and just remember, keep writing, keep laughing, and keep encouraging each other. I'll talk to you guys later. Toodles!